There's a lot of Poppy Playtime content that never made it into the final game. This includes cancelled toy lines and some disturbing creations Playtime never released. We get a glimpse of these horrifying ideas in the orientation book. You won't believe what they're hiding. First, let's delve into the Longlegs family. The orientation book makes it clear that Playtime wanted to paint a picture of an ideal family. We have Mommy Longlegs, Daddy Longlegs, and Baby Longlegs. Here's their remark about the family according to the book. Family is such an important part of what we do at Playtime Co., and it's at the heart of our products. That's why we created the Mommy Longlegs and Family set, which packages Mommy with Daddy Longlegs and Baby Longlegs. It is indeed speculated that Mommy was released first, followed by Daddy and then Baby. Probably Playtime saw how massive of a success Mommy was and got tempted to milk it, so they built this family scenario. They also particularly emphasized that Mommy and Daddy have different body shapes. They wrote, "Note that Daddy Longlegs is not just a reskinned version of Mommy with a hat instead of hair. His body sections and hands are a different shape than Mommy's. So if you're working on the Longlegs production line, ensure you have a correct mold installed." One time we ended up accidentally making a batch of blue Mommy Longlegs. We had to sell them to China under a different name, Lady Ice Spider, and we don't want to have to do that again. People can easily tell that Daddy has a trapezium-shaped torso with a smaller abdomen than Mommy's. The differences in hands are more subtle and less noticeable, but generally Daddy's fingers are more stiff-looking. But it's still pretty understandable why the employees messed up the production. Now here's the most interesting thing about the family. Pay attention to this passage following that. You may notice Baby Longlegs does not have long legs. An early concept where their legs would grow as they were fed was abandoned as unworkable, also kind of disturbing. Mommy is caring and sensitive. Daddy is good at barbecuing and has a mustache. The Longlegs family represents traditional family values. Human family values, that is, not spider family values. Some spiders eat their own mothers after hatching, and that's not what we're about as a company. This means that Baby Longlegs originally could grow out of his baby form by being fed, but this creepy concept was removed. Out of the Longlegs series, Mommy is the only one we've seen who has a bigger body's initiative form. Imagine if Baby also had a bigger version while still maintaining that ability. That would mean he'd get bigger if he fed on somebody, and that's bad news for us. Some people actually theorize that Baby is Ollie, the telephone we carry in Chapter 3, yet it has never been confirmed, and we still need to wait a while until we find out if that's true. Now the next piece of information is just as disturbing, if not more. Let's turn our attention to PJ Pugapillar, the pug and caterpillar hybrid we have to defeat in statues in Chapter 2. Here's what the orientation notebook has to say. Following the same pet and insect formula as Cat Bee, we created PJ Pugapillar. Whereas Cat Bee is more cat than bee, PJ is more caterpillar than pug. Please note that PJ's body has 22 segments, which means 42 legs. Quality control checkers on the PJ production line should count these segments and ensure no PJ is shipped with too many or too few. You might think kids don't notice this stuff, but trust us, they do. And they send us letters. So PJ is part of the toy line called Swapimals. Essentially, they're toys based on two animals fused together, and in PJ's case, he's a mix of a pug and a caterpillar. But that wasn't always going to be his final name. As a matter of fact, he was never going to be a Swapimal in the first place. Bob Entertainment initially designed a female caterpillar called Cassie Cutiepillar. She was the one we would have encountered for statues, but they felt like she was too cute and could be more out of the box. Therefore, they decided to partially scrap her design, turning her into a male half-pug, half-caterpillar. If you're curious about what Cassie Cutiepillar looks like, you can see a glimpse of her face in the official trailer for Chapter 2. The fact that PJ has a whopping 22 pairs of legs is also intriguing, considering a real caterpillar only has 3 pairs. This decision was probably made so that he could move faster and more effectively through the obstacles. Another toy in the Swapimals line is Cat Bee. As her name suggests, she's a combination of a cat and a bee. The following is a notebook explanation about her. Cat Bee is one of our recent success stories. She's a fusion of a cat and a bee. We did test more imaginative names, but Jimmy Roth advised us to go with the more direct approach, and as usual, he was right. When people hear Cat Bee, they understand exactly what she is. Cat Bee is playful and loving. Look at her heart-shaped paw pads. A lot of people ask if she stings. The answer is, honestly, we never thought about it in that much detail. Cat Bee is so popular with kids, we've made her the product they can manufacture for themselves in the Make a Friend room. Cat Bee was also introduced even earlier than PJ. She first appeared in the last room before we had to face the boss in Chapter 1. We also get ourselves a list of all the rejected toys. Naturally, children often overlook them because they weren't up to par. But there are some interesting details described in the book. We don't always get it right. Here are some of the products we've developed that didn't make it to the market. The first toy on the list is Sir Poops-a-Lot. This classy, dignified fellow came with his own toilet, but he was rejected after focus groups had an overwhelming overwhelmingly negative response. Fun fact, the designer who came up with this was fired. And then they have Kick Me Paul. The concept behind this orange spherical toy was that kids could hit or kick him. We could say this was rejected for being contrary to Playtime Co.'s brand values, but the truth was no one liked him. He was resubmitted under the name Push Me Paul, and was rejected again, because the name was not the problem. The third rejected toy is Daisy. Daisy was a marionette in the form of a flower. During testing, she made children cry, so naturally she was rejected. The last thing we want at Playtime Co. is for kids to be scared. We would never knowingly design a toy to be frightening. At the time this was discovered, Daisy had already been added to some of our branding, and we may try to revive the character in a less creepy form someday. Despite being unreleased, Daisy is present as a cardboard cutout in Chapter 2. In addition, there's a poster of her hugging PJ Pugapillar. She was originally supposed to be in Bunzo Bunny's position, challenging us in musical memory, but for several reasons, Mob Entertainment decided to replace her with Bunzo. Next on the list is Owen the Oven, a kitchen play toy with a difference. Well, two differences. First, he had a lovable grumpy expression, but second and more important, he was a fully functioning oven with a top temperature of 400 degrees Fahrenheit. He could be used to bake small cakes, mini pizzas, cookies, etc. Sadly, during testing, several children received third-degree burns. Well, it's a good thing this toy has never been released. If the designer of Sir Poops-a-Lot got fired, then whoever accepted the idea of letting children play with an oven should have been arrested. Following Owen was Sunny Buddy, another flower toy. The issue here was that we never worked out what he was meant to do. He's just a flower in a pot. Surprise hair. This was planned as a toy in the pocket money range, maybe with different colors and shapes to encourage collectability. However, it fell out of favor when we pivoted to larger toys. And for Pet Stone, our design team insisted this was a genius idea, but focus groups just thought it was some kind of joke. One of the last rejected toys was Barrel O Huggies. We loved this extension of the Huggy brand. These barrels of small elastic Huggies could connect to form chains. Unfortunately, in testing, we found kids would mistake the Huggies for candy, creating a choking hazard. A shame, but the customer is always right. Most of these toys can be found in the rejected room, which is the massive room we come across after completing musical memory. According to the orientation notebook, this room was built to remind Playtime not to repeat their mistakes and possibly inspire tomorrow's stroke of genius. So those are some pieces of removed Poppy Playtime history. Let me know in the comments what toy you are looking forward to in Chapter 4. Do you want to see baby Longlegs? Or maybe an appearance from one of the rejected toys? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out some of these videos on the screen.